When I first played Zenless Zone Zero, I didn't expect to fall in love with the game. I thought I'd check it out, enjoy it for a little while, and move on, but that wasn't the case. While the gameplay needed polishing when it first released, the storytelling is what drew me in. The manga panels combined with the cutscenes, and the story was actually compelling. I wanted to learn more about this world and its characters. As version 1 progressed, certain rough gameplay systems were either fixed and optimized, making it feel a lot better to play, and we got to explore more of this world. I found myself really enjoying a Hoyoverse game again, and I was thrilled. It reminded me of the original charm that Genshin did when it first released with Mondstadt and Liyue, and Honkai Star Rail's first version with Belobog. That's why I'm less excited, but rather afraid for ZZZ's Season 2. The three Hoyoverse titles I'll be talking about today have all had very strong starts, those being Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero. Genshin was released during COVID, which created a unique circumstance for this game to flourish and garner attention. The open world elements, along with a ton of effort being poured into a gacha game, made players enamored with the world and its characters. While Mondstadt's story isn't regarded as one of the better ones these days, it's still the place where many consider home, and quite nostalgic. The open world aspect of exploring, solving puzzles, and completing character story quests really set this game apart. When Honkai Star Rail released into a saturated turn-based market, it already had a challenge of trying to stand out. But this game also had the Hoyoverse name attached to it, giving it a leg up. HSR gave its characters fleshed out stories similar to Genshin, beautiful animations, and the way they handled Belobog's story was phenomenal. Being a player during launch felt great as there were plenty of chances to explore, gain currency, and for exciting new units like Zila, Jingyuan, and many others that came not too long after. ZZZ had an interesting release as it didn't have the best reception at first. Many criticized the TV mechanic, which honestly I found pretty annoying too. The combat felt lackluster for many, and within hours lots of folks in the community were dropping the game as quickly as they picked it up. I certainly felt like the odd one out here, enjoying the game in my little corner as I continued to explore the story, wanting to know more as I leveled up my units. We're nearing the end of Season 1's story, and most of it has been very riveting. Not only have we met many characters and learned about the factions, but we're pushing the main plot forward as well by learning about the sacrifices, Helios Academy, and finding Phaethon's teacher. Coming from playing Genshin for so long, it's been nice to see the main plot actually progress instead of being at a standstill for so long. While all these games started out strong, it's their second version where things began to slip. That's why I'm scared the same will happen to Zenless Zone Zero too. Genshin's version 2 was hyped incredibly well with the Raiden Shogun and Inazuma. The Archon quest had great build-up and we had a lot to look forward to. However, the region had a huge difficulty spike. The Archon quest finale was not the best with a lack of quality in its writing. It was in version 2 that the developers began to lock fundamentals of character kits behind their constellations in hopes that players would begin to spend more money to get their C1 or C2. This is what I like to call the era where Hoyo began to create problems so that they could sell you solutions. Not to mention they began to create monsters that completely negated certain mechanics in the game that made previous units feel not so great to play. This began with the introduction of Rift Hounds negating shields, and yes, this issue still persists into version 5 with the Night Soul mechanic. If you encounter one of those Natlin enemies that has this stupid bar, you better hope you have a fast attacker or a Natlin character on your team or you'll be stuck in that fight for a while. Honkai Star Rail's version 2 is why I don't play the game anymore. Penacony's abysmal story alongside the power creep that was happening way back then is what made me rage quit. For the record, I have kept up with this game on social media and I'm so sorry for all of you dealing with the global passive stuff. While Penacony's story had some amazing moments, it wasn't worth 8+ hours of dialogue to get there. Every time Acheron appeared on screen, I visibly cringed, knowing that the cutscene was going to be extended by another 30 minutes so she could re-explain everything to me in 3 different ways. I hated not being able to play with my favorite characters, and with 2 new 5 stars being released every version, everyone being more powerful than the last, I had never felt more pressure to pull. It was version 2.3 that I threw in the towel, deciding that HSR was a waste of time, which is a real shame because the character designs, when they aren't a copy-paste of each other, are so incredibly pretty alongside the animations. Now we're about to enter version 2, season 2 with ZZZ. Will they begin to lock characters' potentials behind copies? Will they begin to bloat the dialogue to increase playtime? Or will they begin to start power creeping? They already released 2 new 5 stars per patch like HSR, and I already don't like that trend. I'm terrified for how Hoyoverse's greed will rear its ugly head in this game that I've come to really enjoy. They have a good thing going here, and the only major story complaint I have right now is that the proxies have... Okay, quick spoiler warning, you have about 5 seconds to skip. Okay, I'm gonna say it now. The proxies have gained the ability to enter the hollow themselves without consequence anymore. What will happen to Eos or Fairy? That was one of the main things that made our main characters extremely unique, assisting the factions in the hollows from the game store. We'll have to see how it goes. I want to be excited for version 2, but I'm holding myself back. I was excited for Penacony, but that was the version that made me quit. I was excited for Inazuma, and while I still play Genshin Impact, we're in another rough region in Natland in both in terms of character kits, designs, and story writing quality. We did get a dev talk recently with a lot of promising notes, but it's Hoyoverse. Last time big changes were coming and promised to us in version 5 with Genshin, it ended up being a nothing burger. But let me know what you think. Are you cautiously optimistic like I am? Are you excited? Or are you prepared for ZZZ to take a nosedive like the other games? Or am I worrying over nothing? I'd love to hear your thoughts, just keep it respectful as always. If you like gacha content, I have some other videos on my channel you can check out next if you want. Until next time.